this isn't like a missing persons case, but in the documentary they called it the predator case of Lima, Ohio. And in 2013, there was this older couple, and it was a husband and wife. The husband was like a professor, and the woman was actually off in their woods hunting, like up in a little deer stand in the trees. And she said all of a sudden, everything in the woods went silent. There was no chirping, there was no bugs, there was nothing. Like, there was that noise, and then all of a sudden it cut off. And it felt like her eyes got like really foggy, and she like went to go wipe her eyes because there was just like this fog across them that wouldn't go away. And like what they showed in the like reenactment was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and she described it as a saran wrap like clear blob going through the woods, like you just see like the trees like normal, but you see like this clear like bubble like morphing around the woods, and then like it'll stretch over to a tree and go over there. And like she said she doesn't know why, but she stayed there. Like she just didn't get scared of it and run away. She just stayed. And later that night she goes back into the house, and like her husband had just wrapped up dinner and everything, sat at his computer and gets an email from his nephew who was a few miles away doing band camp that night. And they said while they were practicing on the football field, they saw this bright orange like candle color of light like just come up over the tree line, and everyone just looked like, what the hell is that? And then it just went away. And the woman took a picture while she was in the woods, because like then she brought it up to her husband like, oh, I saw this in the woods, look at this picture. And she took it on a BlackBerry back then, and it was just a very blurry picture that either looked like she got like maybe some of her hair, but then she said it couldn't have been her hair because she had it back in like a ball cap, like in the little ponytail hole. But to me, what it looked like through like, cause you know when you take a picture and like maybe there's the sun in the way and it comes across as like white lines, like hazy. It looked like that, and it looked like maybe a tree trunk with like a big hairy arm hugging it from the back. Like that's what it looked like to me. And they sent it to like all these engineers and stuff to see like if they could analyze it. They said that it's impossible for the resolution to be that way in the bite size on a BlackBerry phone. Like it altered the like how the picture was taken itself. Like it was weird. And they just never found out what that was. But there is apparently some weird ghost morphing thingy just swinging through trees in the woods.
That's a weird concept. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if y'all haven't listened to our episode, I think it was episode 3 on mysterious creatures, you should definitely go back and check that out.
That one was so goofy, looking back at it. Okay, let me actually tell y'all a real missing person case. So, on July 10th of 2015, a woman calls 911 that her son, Dior Coons Jr., who was 2 years old, was missing at Timber Creek Campground in Salmon Chalet National Park in Leodore, Idaho.
What's the address of your emergency?
I'm actually camping in Leadore, just outside of Leadore.
Uh-huh.
My 2-year-old son, we can't find him.
You can hear Jessica Mitchell's voice trembling.
How long has he been missing?
About an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
The last place family says they saw Dior Coons Jr. was a campground 10 miles west of Leadore after being put on hold.
Jessica?
Yeah.
Okay. What is he wearing?
He was wearing cowboy boots, a blue, pair, like pajama pants, and a camel jacket.
The dispatcher asks for a description of the toddler.
How tall is he? Hello?
Yes, I'm not exactly sure how. He's about.
What's your name? Colonel?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your husband calling too?
like all down where we were camping at, and we can't find him at all.
Then dispatch gives the mother instructions.
Okay, we need you to stay within cell service. We've got people going on the way.
Thank you.
That morning, some of their family, I believe it was the little boy, his mom and dad, his grandpa, and his grandpa's friend, and they all went camping, and some of them went away. Oh wait, that doesn't matter. They had just gotten back from like going to the store, and the mom, dad, and Dior, like Junior, was going to the creek because the grandpa's friend was fishing. And the grandpa was like sitting back at the camp because he was older and he didn't want to move around and stuff. So they thought Dior Jr. was like following them to the trail, and he was for a little bit until he turned around and realized he wanted candy from Grandpa. So then they assumed like, okay, Grandpa's gonna watch him, and they come back 10 to 15 minutes later and was like, where's the little man? And the grandpa was like, oh, he's right up. He was over there. And so they began searching. They called 911, search and rescue began, and they thought he couldn't have gotten far. They put in 10,000 man-hours of searching for this little boy. They had infrared helicopters. They were crawling through creeks, like, because this creek had trees, like, all over it, and they were, like, lifting logs, like, doing the most. They searched animal dens and nests, and they found nothing. And then the grandpa's friend Isaac was heavily looked into by authorities because he had a prior sex crime, and he was just like a strange person. And he woke up the morning after Dior disappeared and said that was the best night of sleep he ever had. But into further investigation, they even looked at the parents, thinking like the mom didn't care about him and they just murdered him and covered it up. But like, he just disappeared, and like still nothing has been found.
That's so scary, and I feel like there's always like this little borderline theory that makes you think like, oh, maybe it was just the people and the parents and not the national park. But at the same time, because we know how shitty humans are, but I don't know.
Yeah, they like actually, because really why they thought the parents did it was the mom did not like to be in the media. Like, she was a very secluded person as it was, and she definitely didn't want to be on camera like crying her ass off and trying to defend herself when her son went missing. And it's just weird, like, in that short span of time, this little boy just vanishes. He didn't leave shoes, he didn't leave anything.
Okay, so after like looking into this Dior Jr. case a little bit more, the parents are seeming a lot more suspicious to me. Apparently, after he went missing, the parents split up and were kicked out of their apartment. And it says, upon eviction from their shared apartment, blah, 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 they found the missing camouflage jacket and several toy cars that both parents alleged were with their son at the time of his disappearance at the campground. In addition to the toys and jacket, a family friend used a credit card with purchases of items unknown to investigators and testimony, in quotes. So to me, I can only assume that means like your typical rope, trash bags, you know, sus stuff. And also a tracking device box was also found in their apartment. And also, just the scenario of this case, like the way that the parents decided they wanted to go on a camping trip. And then they wanted to bring their really old grandpa that doesn't get around much. And then the grandpa wants to invite this friend Isaac that has never met the couple before, doesn't know them very well at all. And then all of a sudden, this little boy goes missing when this said person has a prior predator history, basically. So it sounds like to me now, like the parents maybe arranged for this to happen. Because the cadaver dogs did hit on something. But there was a bone found. But after like forensic analysis, it was an animal bone. So I don't know if dogs can hit on. So yeah, I don't know if dogs like get the same hit off of like a dead animal like a dead human. Can they tell the difference? I don't know. I could probably Google that right now, but y'all probably know better than me. So basically, allegedly, my opinion is that it's looking more like the parents did this, and this isn't a mysterious national park missing person. But that doesn't discredit the other ones because the other ones are very sus, and I can't explain them.
And then there was actually another little boy, because this is from the first 411 documentary. His name was Bobby Bizup, and he disappeared on August 15th in 1958 and at the St. Malo campground that borders the Rocky Mountain National Forest in Colorado, and he was 10 years old. He was partially deaf, and he was fishing at a small creek, like during summer camp. They were doing it was like a religious all-boys summer camp up there. And he was fishing at a small creek when one of the counselors came outside and said it was dinner time. And so he began to follow the counselor back, but when the counselor looked behind him, he wasn't following anymore. And so a search began, and the search was terminated after 9 days. And then a year later, 3 counselors returned and decided to do their own search again, searching the same areas, and found his remains and his hearing aid, because he was partially deaf, near a ravine that had already been searched. And like, that was back in 58. Like, this stuff has been happening for a while, so whatever is out there doing this, it's still out there. And it's been there for a while, so it probably knows every nook and cranny.
Yeah. I don't know. You already know my feelings on like Bigfoot and mystical creatures. I'm not like a huge believer, even though I'm not like gonna completely say that they couldn't exist.
But like with cases like that, I don't think Bigfoot just came out and snatched a kid.
Exactly.
Some of them are more questionable though, but
I also saw people saying that they think it might be a Wendigo, which we kind of talked about that once, but that's also like a stretch.
But so is like the circumstances of these disappearances. Like, it's uncanny. Like, it just gets weirder and weirder.
I actually found a website. It's part of the National Park Service's website, and they list some of the cold cases. It's not all of them, but it is some of the cold cases, and they give you like a very small description of when the last time they were saw and went missing at. And if you want to check it out, it's at www.nps.gov/orgs/cold cases. And that was kind of interesting to look at, but like you said, they've been dating back since 1916, so if there is something out there, it's been out there for a while now.
You got any more cases?
No, that's the only big case I had. Because all the other cases that I saw like on that website, it's basically the same pattern. Person goes out in the woods, mysterious circumstances, disappears.
Well then, I'll just keep reading you some cases, because honey, I got them.
Let's go.
Alright, so then we have Jared Adadero, who disappeared October 2nd in 1999 in Comanche Peak Wilderness in Colorado at 3 years old. Him, his dad, and his sister lived and worked at like a resort store in like some kind of park. And there was a Christian group staying at the lodge that the dad knew the people, like some of the people in there, and it was like a little deal they had worked out. They could stay at the lodge as long as they helped the family prepare and get ready for winter. Because this was back in 1999. I guess they had to, like, I don't know, get some wood, get some food, hibernate. I don't know.
We were born in 96, Marie.
I mean,
you think our parents were getting wood, like, to make sure we were warm for the winter?
I mean, up there in the mountains, I guess it's a little different if you're, like, living secluded. You don't want to have to, like, go out to the store in 10 feet of snow. Okay, but anyways. So the group was staying at the lodge, and they wanted to go to a trout farm that was about a mile or two up the road. And so the kids were like, Dad, I want to go. So he dressed up the 2 kids, let them go, and just trusted that they would be back home. But the group went 15 miles up the road to a place called Big South Trail, and it's like a moderate hiking trail. Something a kid could go along with, but like wouldn't be recommended. And one of the adults was like making sure like they were watched, like they were with them. And then they like kind of chilled out, all sat down for a little bit, and an adult realized they hadn't seen Jared in about 10 to 20 minutes. And they figured maybe he just kept running up through the trail and they would catch up with him if they kept walking. But they never did. And so later on we find out Jared found two fishermen and asked them if there were any bears around, and he was alone at the time, and that's where he was last seen. And so they went and got his
Finley just farted. I really hope that you can hear that. Jesus, Finley.
Yes, that dog just farted so loud. Oh my god, and so long.
That was great.
Finley, I better
He's
not
embarrassed
smell
now.
that. Okay, continuing. So that was the last place he was found. So then the group went back and got Jared's dad. And I couldn't imagine going back to this man's house and being like, hey, you lost your kid.
I don't think I would. I think I would kill myself.
Yeah. Okay, so they began searching because, like, the dad said he got in his truck and floored it up that dangerous-ass road faster than he should have ever gone, and was just yelling and pounding at the wheel, like, so mad he let him go. Because of it, like, initially he was just going to let the daughter go because she was a little older, but Jared started crying he wanted to go. Well, their search, of course, didn't find anything. Let's see. The cops came out to search too. They also couldn't find anything. But then, in 2003, two hikers found a shoe that looked almost brand new when they were hiking, and then they also found his clothes. And it was 550 feet up on a very high mountain, and they found a skull cap and one tooth on a log. They had canine alerts directing up that mountain when they had previously searched, but they never found anything. Because, like, of course if the dog says, hey, it's going this way, they search that whole damn mountain.
Yeah.
And they didn't see anything. But literally the picture of his skull and the tooth, like, it's literally just sitting on a log. Like someone was using it as a bowl. But,
How does that happen?
there's no explanation.
Wait, I have like 3 quick questions.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever been hiking?
In, like, Louisiana trails.
Okay, I don't even think I've been hiking in Louisiana trail. It's something I've always wanted to do. Maybe I don't understand it. So when you're hiking with friends, let's say you and I went on like a hiking trip, is it normal for us to like get out of view of each other? Like, or do we not walk together the entire time? Like, would it be common for me to like go way up ahead and you be really far behind me? Because I feel like that happens in every single one of these situations.
But trying to look back at it, like, I've gone to 2 different places like this. I've been to, is it called Tallow Creek?
Tallow Creek?
Where the little waterfall is, where like everyone goes and takes like
I
their little
think it
picture
is.
by that little ranky-dank waterfall.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been there like 2 or 3 times with like big groups of people. Well, one time it was with a big group of people, and then the other time it was just me and Taylor. Like, you remember him from Olive Garden? Okay. And whenever it was me and him, like, I don't think we ever, like, split up. Now, when it's a bigger group, bigger groups tend to split up. But then, also one time, me, my boyfriend, and our roommate, and some of their friends, I think, we went to some place in Mississippi, that, like, mini Grand Canyon looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to
something
do,
bluff.
yeah, I'm not even gonna try to think about it, but I feel like I need to do better, because I think I was wandering off by myself in those trails, because I struggle with hiking because I have asthma. Like, it'll just feel like my insides are like freezing cold and I'm like gasping for air. I can feel my heartbeat in my ears. Like, it is not a good time for me. So I like tend to mosey about, be in the back. If I see something cool, I'm gonna go look at it. Like, I wanna go see what that tree is. Like, I'm that girl. So if anyone were to go missing, it would be me. But I feel like, I guess it's just a random draw. Like, what happens when you go out there?
Because it's always the people that go alone and are, I don't know. I feel like people don't go missing in like groups of 2s in these national parks. It's always like an isolated person.
Or, well, it is a group in this case. I don't know if I have any of just like it being one I don't know. but
Well,
it can
I meant,
happen
like-
to anybody.
I mean, like, you don't have like two people go missing at the same time.
Oh
it's
no,
always
it's
a single
always
person.
one person that's missing. Yeah.
And they end up somehow like by themselves when they end up going missing, which kind of makes me think that it does have some type of foul play because somebody's snatching an easy target,
or
but
like
also
trying to draw them away.
yeah. But also when you think about it, if it is like natural events causing them to die, like if there's two people, I feel like you have a much better chance of surviving than if it's one person. So maybe it works both ways.
Who knows? Because we don't know what's going on.
True.
And they said, most people believe that a big cat took Jared and that they scared this big animal away with the searches that they did, and that's why they never found like what animal did it, because his pants, he was wearing like these little jean pants or felt blue pants that were very ripped up. Like the dad still had them, but it's pretty obvious, like there's a lot of birds out there, a lot of big birds, they like pick at it and like put it in their nests. Like it didn't look like an animal attack, because they also found his jacket, and they say that big cats, when they attack, they go for the stomach and like do that thing. And his jacket was totally fine. His pants were the only thing that was ripped up, and they think it was because it was that different material.
We couldn't have like tested the pants somehow to find out.
Well, forensic analysis showed no animal hairs or blood on anything that they found. And there's still no official conclusion to this case.